Gideon's small army. When weakness becomes strength. In the time when judges ruled Israel, the land fell quiet under the shadow of oppression. For 7 years, the Midianites swept across the valleys like locusts, destroying crops and leaving the people impoverished and afraid. The Israelites hid in mountain caves and dens, their hearts heavy with despair. Among them was a young man named Gideon, from the weakest clan of Manasseh. One ordinary day, as he threshed wheat in a winepress, hiding his work from Midianite raiders, an angel appeared with words that seemed impossible. "The Lord is with you, mighty warrior." Gideon looked around, confused. A mighty warrior? Him. He was the least in his family, from the smallest tribe. Yet God had chosen this uncertain young man for an impossible task, to save Israel from the Midianites. Gideon asked for signs, needing reassurance. Twice he laid out a fleece of wool, once asking that dew fall only on the fleece while the ground stayed dry, then the reverse. Each time, God answered with patience, confirming his call. Word spread, and 32,000 men rallied to Gideon's banner. An army at last. But God said, "You have too many men. If you win with this many, Israel will boast that their own strength saved them." Gideon announced that anyone afraid could go home. 22,000 left immediately. 10,000 remained. Still considerable. But again God said, "Still too many." At the water's edge, God instructed Gideon to watch how the men drank. Most knelt down, putting their faces to the water, but 300 cupped water in their hands, staying alert. "With these 300, God declared, I will save you." 300 against an enemy as numerous as locusts, whose camels could not be counted. The odds were impossibly against them. But this was precisely God's design, so no one could mistake human power for divine deliverance. That night, God gave Gideon final encouragement. "Go down to the enemy camp and listen," he said. In the darkness, Gideon overheard a Midianite soldier telling about a dream, a loaf of barley bread tumbling into camp and overturning a tent. His companion interpreted immediately, "This is the sword of Gideon. God has given Midian into his hands." Even the enemy knew God was at work. Gideon divided his tiny army into 3 companies. Each man received a trumpet, an empty jar, and a torch hidden inside the jar. No swords, no shields, just these simple tools and faith in God's promise. In the deep of night, they surrounded the vast Midianite camp. At Gideon's signal, all 300 smashed their jars simultaneously. Light blazed forth in the darkness. Trumpets shattered the silence. With one voice they shouted, "A sword for the Lord and for Gideon." The Midianite camp erupted in chaos. Unable to distinguish friend from foe in the confusion, they turned their swords on each other. The massive army fled in panic before 300 men who had done nothing but break jars, blow trumpets, and shine light into darkness. God had won the victory through the smallest, weakest, most unlikely army imaginable, not because of Gideon's strength, but his willingness to trust. Not through military might, but through complete dependence on God. In this story, we see a gentle truth echoing through time. God delights in using the weak, the small, the overlooked, and the uncertain. He reduces our numbers and strips away our confidence in ourselves, not to humiliate us, but to reveal Himself. When we are weak, He is strong. When we have nothing but our trust, His power shines brightest. Gideon began as a fearful man hiding in a winepress. He became a deliverer, not because he grew mighty, but because he learned that God's strength is perfected in weakness. 300 men with clay jars and torches accomplished what 32,000 never could, because the victory belonged to God alone. As you drift toward sleep, rest in this ancient truth. Your weakness is not a disqualification. It is often the very place where God chooses to work His greatest wonders. In the smallest army, with the most unlikely leader, God displayed His glory. And He continues to work this way still, choosing the humble, empowering the weak, and accomplishing the impossible through those who simply trust Him. Sleep peacefully, knowing that God's strength is made perfect in weakness.